Can we survive what's coming for us? The sun's radiant heat is responsible for the existence of all life on Earth. What transpires, though, if the radiation spirals out of control and suddenly hurls billions of tons of charged solar material in our direction at thousands of miles per second? What happens when a solar flare directly hits Earth? And can one powerful enough ever wipe out life as we know it on our planet? Well, the world is poised to experience a solar storm like no other. How damaging may a large solar storm be to Earth in today's internet-connected world? How will a geomagnetic storm affect today's technology? Let's find out. The Sun is a powerful magnetic star with swirling cyclones that reach into its upper atmosphere and have a 1,000,000-degree temperature. It provides us with warmth and light, aids in the growth of our crops, and provides us with a chance to enjoy some much-needed summertime sun. Huge explosions are possible when the energy that has been trapped in the magnetic fields of the Sun is suddenly released. We refer to these outbursts as solar flares. When the Solar Orbiter spacecraft captured previously unseen photographs of a solar outburst on February 15th of last year, NASA and the European Space Agency, ESA, made history. The astronomy community has learned a lot more about these damaging processes on the Sun's surface because of this unprecedentedly comprehensive view of the event. However, NASA has been keeping track of these solar flares and storms for a while, and has discovered that the energy they unleash is vastly more than that of any nuclear bomb on Earth. According to the Space Agency, the explosions called solar flares are capable of releasing as much energy as 1 billion 1 megaton nuclear bombs. A solar storm might prove fatal. Every time a new solar storm barrels through space toward Earth, we read about it in the headlines because we all know about it, we have read about it, and we are aware of it. But how harmful might a powerful solar storm be? You can be excused if you don't take the space weather phenomenon that generates the stunning aurora seriously. However, in actuality, it is one of nature's most destructive forces. It has happened before on Earth, but we haven't yet seen the full scope of it. What exactly are solar flares? Solar flares are caused by the Sun's magnetic field lines becoming stretched and twisted, which result in massive electromagnetic storms the size of planets forming on the Sun's surface. Solar flares are characterized by their powerful, dazzling lights made of photon-like particles. These are observed using a variety of techniques, most notably X-rays and optical light. According to NASA, solar flares also speed up protons and electrons in addition to other particles. Additionally, solar flares are defined as the brief outward rupture of highly intense radiation. Briefly, they resemble a burst of light. These storms appear to us as chilly, dark spots on the Sun called sunspots. Huge tendrils of magnetic field lines that surround sunspots twist, spin, and occasionally shatter, producing solar flares, which are intense bursts of energy. The majority of a solar flare's energy is radiated away as X-ray and ultraviolet radiation. But a flare's powerful energy can also heat up neighboring gas in the Sun's atmosphere, causing coronal mass ejections, CMEs, huge blobs of charged particles to be sent shooting into space. Any ensuing CMEs will directly strike Earth if a flare-up sunspot is facing our planet, usually taking anywhere between 15 hours and several days to get here. You've probably experienced hundreds of CMEs, whether you've heard of them or not, according to NASA. The Sun generates anything from 1 CME every week to several per day, depending on where we are in its 11-year cycle of activity. Due to the Earth's strong magnetic field, or magnetosphere, the majority of CMEs pass past our planet completely unnoticed by the general population. However, the largest and most powerful CMEs can actually compress the magnetic field of our planet as they pass, creating a geomagnetic storm. The flares are categorized according to their severity. Some create global radio blackouts and radiation storms in the upper atmosphere. Others have a history of causing issues, such as extensive mobile phone outages and transformer explosions. Additionally, they are capable of causing magnetic field variations that can be felt on the Earth's surface. Atoms and molecules in the Earth's atmosphere become electrically charged as electromagnetic energy from the Sun enters our magnetosphere, producing effects that are visible all around the planet. The aurora borealis, which is normally only seen near the North Pole, can shift down so far during such storms that it can be seen close to the equator. But happily, given our great distance from the Sun, we do not have to contend with solar flares in and of themselves. The main threat to Earth, though, is the solar storm that will follow. And to be honest, it still won't be enough to wipe out everyone in the world, but it can take out power grids, communication systems of all kinds, including the internet, and all the satellites that orbit the Earth. While the majority of the energy emitted by the Sun is absorbed by the Earth's atmosphere, if a solar storm is powerful enough, this energy can still reach Earth and harm the country's infrastructure. Yes, it can affect the internet as well, since the deep-sea cables that deliver the internet to the majority of countries contain certain equipment that can be damaged by a strong solar storm. The repairs on these will take months. Furthermore, no nation is prepared for such a scenario. You can picture the turmoil at our hospitals and other locations, given that the majority of our medical infrastructure depends on electricity and the internet. In actuality, it is more than just conjecture. NASA provides information on prior occurrences and the damage that solar storms have wrought. The Carrington event, the most powerful geomagnetic storm ever observed, occurred in September 1859 and interfered with telegraph networks all over the world. Geomagnetically induced currents caused the Hydro-Quebec power network to collapse in March 1989. Over 6 million individuals were affected by the global blackout that resulted from this incident, which lasted more than 9 hours. Additionally, similar occurrences happened in the past, when digital technology was still being developed and there were a lot fewer satellites in the sky than there are now. Why, therefore, do people on Earth care so much about satellite damage? This is addressed by NASA in a post. In an increasingly technological world where almost everyone relies on cell phones and GPS controls, not just in your car map system, but also airplane navigation and the extremely accurate clocks that govern financial transactions, space weather is a serious matter, the website reads. And that is what's most worrying. In a world where nearly everything, including airplanes, stock exchanges, hospitals, and emergency services run on energy and the internet, a direct hit on these channels will immediately put a stop to all of these services. While solar storms cannot harm humans directly, they can result in significant financial loss as well as the death of countless lives as a result of the system collapsing. We pondered what, if any, effects solar flares may have on our health if they could cause such harm to machines and electronics. These powerful bursts of radiation are nothing to worry about from a health perspective, according to NASA. Harmful radiation from a flare cannot pass through the Earth's atmosphere to physically affect humans on the ground, the space agency said in a September 2017 statement. However, when intense enough, they can disturb the atmosphere in the layer where GPS and communication signals travel. Dr. Gary agreed with NASA's statement. There are potential health effects for anyone exposed to that high-energy radiation. But actually, we are protected because those rays and particles get absorbed into our atmosphere. Some of this radiation may be more dangerous for those in airplanes flying over the poles at high altitudes, and occasionally flight paths are altered during periods of unusual solar activity. There are only some safety concerns if the electricity goes out, he added, adding that there isn't much to worry about for anyone on the ground. For instance, GPS and traffic light outages might make driving dangerous, or hospitals could theoretically lose access to patient information, as we've already stated. Heliobiology is the study of the relationships between sun activity and human health, and some scientists believe that there may be a negative relationship between the two. A 2018 study published in Scientific Reports suggests that alterations in the solar and geomagnetic environment could be the root of a number of health problems. In addition to aggravating pre-existing conditions, disturbed geomagnetic activity is linked to notable rises in cardiac arrhythmia, cardiovascular illness, the rate of myocardial infection-related death, changes in blood flow, elevated blood pressure, and epileptic seizures. In addition, a study from April 2014 found a connection between geothermal storms and stroke risk among residents of New Zealand, Australia, the United Kingdom, France, and Sweden. The findings were published in the journal Stroke. Over a 23-year period, the study correlated 11,453 hospital reports with daily geomagnetic activity and discovered that geomagnetic storms were linked to a 27% greater risk of stroke among persons under 65 and a 19% greater risk overall. The study was able to demonstrate a cause and effect relationship, and the researchers lacked comprehensive data on all individuals' conventional cardiovascular risk factors. However, they hypothesized that magnetic oscillations would affect blood pressure, heart rate, the capacity of the blood to clot, or circadian rhythms, all of which might have an impact on the risk of stroke. Even if the study's presumptions were accurate, less than 3% of all strokes occurred within the study's time period. But considering that there are over 17 million strokes worldwide each year, that amounts to almost 500,000 people. Although the effect of geomagnetic activity alone is modest, in combination with other risk factors, it could be extremely important, the authors wrote in their paper. The closest star to us might not be a threat to extinction, but other stars close by might. When some stars exhaust their fuel and die, they explode in a massive supernova that sends intense radiation into space for millions of light years in all directions. These explosions are hundreds of times stronger than solar flares. Should one occur close enough to Earth, the dying star may expose our planet to so much ultraviolet radiation that it removes the ozone layer's protective shield, leaving Earth open to an onslaught of charged interstellar particles. According to the authors of a recent study, this may have occurred approximately 359 million years ago, at the end of the Devonian period, as a result of the demise of a star 65 light-years from Earth. That's 416 million to 358 million years ago. 70% of the invertebrates on Earth died during a global extinction that occurred at the end of this time, while experts are unsure of what caused it. The extinction may have been caused by an exploding star, nevertheless, as evidenced by ultraviolet radiation damage found in fossil spores from the time of the extinction. The study's authors expressed relief that there aren't any supernova candidates nearby that might pose such a threat anytime soon. We only need to be concerned about our cozy, tiny sun, and our atmosphere makes sure we stay on that star's pleasant side. Additionally, NASA does maintain a careful check on our sun with satellites like SOHO in case it decides to flare up in our way, and continuing missions traveling towards the sun like the Parker Solar Probe will gather enough information on our host star to aid scientists in predicting its behavior. For the time being, scientists must keep a tight eye on our star in case it decides to interfere with our priceless technology. Thanks for watching another episode of Voyager. While you're still here, make sure to click the video on your screen for more mind-blowing videos about space.